Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Want to know the one habit that helped me pay off $175,000 in debt? Today I'm breaking down my entire system for tracking every single dollar that comes in and goes out of my life. I've been using this exact system for the last 3 years, and it's helped me pay off $175,000 in debt and build my emergency fund to cover an entire year. I track every single dollar that comes in and leaves my life, and today I'm showing you exactly how I do it. Most people have absolutely no idea where their money goes each month. Many years ago, that was me too. Then I discovered something that completely changed my financial life. Tracking every dollar. Not just budgeting, but knowing exactly where each dollar goes. Hey everybody, I'm Mike with Roof Money Pro, and I help roofing professionals maximize their careers and build wealth. Today I'm breaking down my entire system. The exact apps, spreadsheets, and habits that help me transform from being constantly stressed about money to feeling completely in control of my finances. And more importantly, how you can set up a similar system that actually works for your lifestyle. This isn't some complicated system that requires an accounting degree. It's simple enough that anyone can do it. And I'll walk you through setting it up step by step. I'm going to show you the tools I use, my weekly routine, and how I handle those tricky situations, like cash purchases or splitting expenses with others. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to take control of your money once and for all. Let's dive in and take control of your finances together. A little over a decade ago, I had what you might call a financial wake-up call. I was just getting started as a consultant, and it wasn't like my checking account was running on fumes. But then I wondered to myself, where's it all going? Like most people, I had an idea, but in reality, I had no clue. I started tracking every single purchase. Huge eye-opener. Turns out I was spending nearly $340 on takeout lunches and those harmless coffee meetings. That's over $4,000 a year. Seriously enough for a pretty decent vacation. The weird thing is, just writing down my spending created this mental shift. Before spending $12 on that sandwich just because I didn't bring any food with me and it was convenient, I'd think, do I really want to write this down later? Often I'd pass. I still have the same conversation with myself today. I tried budgeting before, but always failed miserably. The problem wasn't making a budget, it was sticking to it. Tracking worked differently because it wasn't about restriction, it was about awareness. Within 3 months of consistent tracking, I got crystal clear on my average spending. And that's what allowed me to take my personal financial plan to the next level. You see, the cash flow awareness that tracking creates is powerful medicine for your financial health. You can't manage what you don't measure. And most of us have no idea what we're actually spending our money on. Before I dive into my system, let's talk about why tracking your money works, when traditional budgeting often fails. Studies have shown that people who track their spending save up to 20% more than people who don't. Why? Because it's about awareness, not restriction. When you're aware of your spending habits, you naturally make better decisions. It's like tracking what you eat. Once you realize you're having 4 sodas a day, you'll probably cut back without even trying. Traditional budgeting is like going on a crash diet. It feels restrictive, and eventually you rebel against it. But tracking is different. It's simply about awareness. I don't tell myself I can't have that $5 coffee. I just make sure I track it. And knowing I'll have to look at that number later often makes me pause and think, do I really want this coffee enough to record it? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes no. But either way, it's a conscious choice. Let's get into the specifics. What exactly do I use to track my money? I've tried dozens of apps and systems over the years, but here's what actually works for me now. First, I use my bank's integrated dashboard for day-to-day tracking. It connects to all of my bank accounts and automatically categorizes most transactions. Is it perfect? No. But it catches about 80% of everything automatically, which makes the process much easier. For my deeper analysis, I use a custom Google Sheet that I've refined over the years. I'll link a template in the description so you can copy it for yourself. This spreadsheet is where the magic happens. It helps me see patterns and make better decisions. I also keep a small pocket budget book for tracking cash purchases when I'm out and about. I also keep a small pocketbook. This might seem old school, but cash has a way of disappearing without a trace if you don't track it right away. Finally, I go back to my bank's dashboard for planning future spending. While it's great to see what happened in the past, I love having the ability to plan for the future. I can set budgets for tracking different categories and see when I'm getting close to my limits with visuals and notifications. Now, you don't need all these tools. You could do everything in a simple spreadsheet if you wanted to. The important thing isn't which tool you use, but having a system that you'll actually stick with. The key to making this work is building a sustainable routine. Mine takes just 5 minutes a day, and it's become as automatic as brushing my teeth. Every evening after dinner, I open my tracking app and review any new transactions that have come in. I verify that they're categorized correctly and add notes if needed. For example, if I went to Target, I'll note whether it was for groceries, household items, or a gift for someone. If I made any cash purchases that day, I'll transfer those from my budget book to my tracking system. This usually takes less than 3 minutes. Then I take a quick look at my remaining budget for the week. This isn't about beating myself up if I'm over budget. It's just about creating awareness. If I notice that I'm spending more than planned in a category, I can adjust my spending for the rest of the week. That's it, 5 minutes a day. The key is consistency. Even if I'm tired or busy, I make sure to do this every single day. It's much easier to spend 5 minutes daily than to try to catch up on a month's worth of transactions. The habit becomes powerful because it keeps money at the front of your mind. When I'm about to buy something during the day, I automatically think about having to track it later. It's created a new level of intentionality in my spending. While daily tracking keeps me aware, the weekly and monthly reviews are where I actually improve my financial life. Every Sunday evening, I spend about 15 minutes on a weekly review. I look at my spending by category, compare it to my average, and note any unusual expenses. This is also when I check for any upcoming bills in the next week, so I'm never caught by surprise. Once a month, usually on the last day, I do a deeper review. This takes about 30 to 45 minutes and includes reviewing all spending categories for the month, comparing to previous months to spot trends, checking my overall progress towards financial goals, planning for any large expenses in the coming month, and then making any adjustments to my budget categories based on real data. This monthly review has been eye-opening. These insights help me plan better, especially with my day job as a roofing sales consultant, where my income can vary month to month. The monthly review is also when I celebrate wins. When I finally paid off my mortgage, I treated my wife and I to a weekend staycation full of food and fun. Tracking isn't just about cutting spending. It's about seeing your progress and celebrating it. Let's talk about those situations that make tracking difficult, because these are often where people give up. First, shared expenses. My sweetheart and I have some shared and some separate expenses. I've linked all of our accounts to my bank's dashboard to track who paid for what, and then we settle up on our own schedule. This keeps our day-to-day simple while ensuring everything gets tracked. It's no secret that finances can be a major friction point in a relationship. I won't unpack everything on that subject in this video, but what I can tell you is that the key is communication. When I'm reviewing expenses and something jumps out at me because I don't know what it is, I ask my wife. It may be a couple $100 for a hair appointment. I don't grill her on that because I'm simply looking for clarity on how I should categorize that expense. I've definitely got my share of one-off purchases as well. We'll review together at another time. What about cash? Cash can be hard to track, which is why I typically don't use it, because it doesn't show up in banking apps. That's where my budget books come in. I immediately write down any cash purchase. A little bit awkward to pull out a notebook after buying a coffee? Maybe, but I'm used to it now. That slight awkwardness has saved me hundreds in mystery cash expenses. Irregular expenses used to throw off my entire system. Things like car insurance that's paid every 6 months or annual memberships. Now I set aside money each month for these in separate savings account. And when the bill comes due, I have the money ready. What about when life gets crazy busy? There have definitely been weeks when I fell off the tracking wagon. It's okay. That's going to happen from time to time. The key is to not try to reconstruct everything perfectly. I just do a quick catch-up of major purchases and then start fresh. Perfectionism is the enemy of consistency. My tracking system today looks nothing like what I started with. When I began, I tried to track literally every penny. Instead of tracking each grocery item separately, I just tracked the total grocery bill. I also added automation wherever possible. Most of my bills are now on autopay, but I still record them in my tracking system, so I stay aware of them. Over the years, I've also added investment tracking and measuring my overall net worth. This was a game changer because I started seeing my net worth increase even during months where it felt like I wasn't making any progress on debt. The biggest evolution was my mindset. I stopped seeing tracking as a chore and started seeing it as a tool that gives me freedom. It's counterintuitive, but tracking my money actually makes me feel less stressed about spending because I know exactly where I stand. Let me share some specific ways the system has changed my life beyond just paying off debt. I finally took a vacation without financial stress. By tracking my spending, I was able to save specifically for a trip to Cozumel. I knew exactly how much I had available to spend. And I enjoyed it completely because there was no financial guilt. I negotiated a lower rate on my home and auto insurance after my tracking showed me that I was spending hundreds more than I should have. I discovered I was spending more than $100 annually on streaming subscriptions that I forgot to cancel after the free trial. I canceled most of them and redirected that money towards my emergency fund. I found the confidence to start investing. Once I had my spending under control, I could clearly see how much I could safely invest each month. Most importantly, I avoid having money fights with my wife. When we both track our spending, our money discussions are based on facts, not emotions or accusations. If you're feeling inspired to start tracking your own spending, here's my advice. Start simple. Don't try to create the perfect system right away. Begin by just tracking your spending for 2 weeks without trying to change anything. Just observe. This baseline awareness will show you where your natural spending habits are. Choose one tool to start with, whether it's a spreadsheet, an app like Mint, or your bank, or even just a simple notebook. Pick something and stick with it for at least a month before adding complexity. Focus on consistency over perfection. It's better to track 80% of your spending consistently than to track 100% for a week and then give up because it's too much work. Find an accountability partner, someone who will check in on your progress. This could be a friend, a family member, or your partner. Finally, decide on your why. Are you tracking to pay off debt, save for a house, have more peace of mind? When you connect your tracking to a meaningful goal, you're much more likely to stick with it. As I wrap up, I want to share some benefits of tracking that I've gained over the years. First, it's improved my relationship with money. I no longer feel anxiety when I check my bank account because there are never any surprises. It's helped me identify what I truly value. When I see where my money goes, I can ask myself if that spending aligns with what matters most to me. It's given me the confidence to make bigger financial decisions, like investing or starting a business, because I have clear data about my financial situation. Perhaps most surprisingly, it's actually given me more freedom to spend on things I enjoy. When I know I'm meeting my financial goals, I can spend on wants without guilt. Tracking every dollar isn't about restriction, it's about intentionality. It's about making sure your money is going where you want it to go, rather than wondering where it went. So that's my complete system for tracking every dollar. It's completely transformed my financial life, and I believe it can do the same for you. Start small, be consistent, and watch as your relationship with money completely changes. If you found value in this video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future financial tips. And I'll see you in the next video.